while this one is installing this one, I could say, let's open a command prompt here and show you some more stuff. So let me just open a command prompt here and then clear a screen here. I could say which code. You can see that the binary, because it's a Flatpak, it is not showing here as that package. But let me just look for something called Tmux, which Tmux, it is already installed. So if I just want to use Tmux, I could say Tmux is terminal multiplexer. Terminal multiplexer, I could say new session minus session and say call it Wahid. Now I have opened this window and then I'm on the current session here. So control B and D detach it. Now if I say Tmux ls, I could see that my Tmux is created. All I have to do is just, this is good for attaching it. So you could run some command here and then do your activity and just come back to it another day or another hour. Or if your terminal somehow lock up on you or closed, you can use Tmux to open multiple terminal. On each terminal, you can run a different window or different command. So for example, let's just do this. I'm gonna say Control V and I'm gonna say Shift plus, Control B first and then Shift this. Now I have opened the index. Let me just exit out of this one. I'm exiting out of this one. I'm gonna say Tmux ls, there's no server at this time. Because whatever user you use to create the Tmux session, with that session, you have to come back. If you did it with the root, you have to do it with the root. If you exit out of it, it is gone. But if you detach from it with Control B and D, detach it, it will be there. So I'm gonna create a new session, Tmux. If I just type in like this by itself, automatically create me a window of 0 without anything. So if I just say Control B and D for detach, now if I say Tmux ls, I see that that window is there. So I could say Tmux and then ls is there, but at this time I'm gonna say attach minus session 0. That is minus attach itself is good enough. You don't have to go minus s because I didn't name it anything. So I could say that one, or I could say Tmux A for attach, or I just write the word attach. Then it will no session is there because I exit out. Last time I did a Tmux, I exit out, so I didn't do Control B detach. So if I say Tmux attach, that would work. Now, if I want to detach again, Control B, D, again, if I just type in A, it will attach. Control B, D, and then ATP attach. So now, if I say exit out of this one, there's no more session Tmux. But I could create a new one, say Tmux minus new, and then minus session. I could say, for example, Tmux demo. So I could say here, I put the Tmux demo as the name of my session. So at this time, I could say, what is this is good for me. If I just could run a command and then come back to it. Let's just open a few more pans on each window. On the session, I open a window, window 0 and then window 1 and so on. I could open another one of them. So let's do Control B and then Shift plus. It gives you on a horizontal way. If you want to do Control B and then shift percentage, it's gonna go vertical. So if I want to jump between this one, so now if I run top here and I say, okay, great, now how do I get into my first session on the top? I could say Control B and then use the up arrow. Now I'm here. So if I say H top, htop is not there, let's do an install on sudo install htop. So I say dnf install htop. Now this one is going to say you don't have privilege, but I could do a sudo in front of it and then type in my password. And now it's gonna try to install it. I say, go ahead, install it. It's gonna go through that one and then it will install it. But since it finished, now I have htop here. So now I say htop here, and then that is running htop here, and then this one, I wanna go back to this window. How do I get that one? Control B, I go down, and then so Control B first, and then down arrow, and now I'm on that window, right? Control B and then down arrow, and then so I'm on the other window, Control B and then down arrow, right here I am on this one. So here if I say which Python, it's a Python is there, Python dash version, Python 3.12. So let's run this one and say Python, get in there, and then I'm gonna say, let's just go for I'm gonna just do a quick Python script, say just go for 1,000,000 underscore 00. That's 1,000,000, and then say. Okay, so the syntax was inaccurate. I'm gonna say for I and range, n is missed there. So 1,000 underscore 1,000 1,000,000 this, and say, let me see, unexpected indentation. So import os.system. I'm gonna clear that screen with all this information that is confusing. So I'm going to start fresh. Here I say for num and range of 1,000,000. Let's say 3 more zeros here. That's easy read here. Then I'm gonna say indentation print the num is, let's do a f string and say num is and then print num as the value, and then close this one. So it should say for 1 to all those numbers here. And then at the same time here, if I just press enter, notice how fast that runs. So if I just do a quit from this other one, and that's the command, it runs so fast here. And then what I could do is just open one more subshell and detach it, and then let this one run forever. So if I just do the same thing and give 2 more zeros, or just do some computation here. When you do this number, if you don't want to even do this one with 1,000, and then say print, let's say whatever number to the power of that number is going to go so increase. So 1,000 to the power of 1,000 is going to go forever. My system is going to run out of memory. So what I need to do is just don't do that part. I'm going to say for this one, just do up to 100. And then I say print f and say num to the power of num is equal, and then we say num to the power of num, and that would be computing it and print that one. So it did so fast for all those numbers. Look at the numbers that are here. It's like saying that print 10 to the power of 10. but that is that large number here. And then if you just do it 100 to the power of 100, like we did there, that's like really a huge number. So we can write an expression to do this one, but this some people might say, Wahid, you're just teaching us Python and C and C++. That's part of the operating system. So if you are using an operating system, usually you use an application like Python or programming like C or C++. So a lot of this coding that we are doing it is just there. Let's say I'm going to detach while my screen is there. I'm going to come back to it. Say I left it tonight like this and say Control B and then detach. Now I'm there. So I'm gonna say clear screen. I say Tmux ls, and then that Tmux window is still open. So now I say Tmux just attached to it minus a minus session, and then I could give the name of the session, say Tmux demo. Sorry, minus session unknown flag. Oh, minus tag. Tag name is the not session. Minus T for tag name. If you haven't used these commands, sometimes it's not just easy to remember all the flags on the fly. But I do work on them, and I do remember some commands on the fly. So I'm lucky enough to work on these systems all over the places. So if you look at this one, and now if I exit out of Python here, and then I say, okay, exit out of Python here, and then just run this one. But let's do a clear screen here and say Python -C for command, and then I'm gonna say print hello. Let's say I'm gonna say print hello world. So if I do this one, and that will just say hello world here. And if I run the date command, it run the date, calendar. All of those commands, and now if I just do again Control B and then detach, and then I come back to the same session, all my commands are there. Every other ones, they're like here on the top. So if I go on the Control B and then go to the right and then quit out of top and then say which GCC, and GCC is not there, sudo install GCC. Now I'm installing GNU C collection compiler. I'm going to type in password. Oh, not sudo, this DNF install GCC. So I'm going to install that one, and that is there. So at the same time, I'm gonna do Control B and then just go up arrow, and then I get exit out of the HTOP clear screen, which G++, it's not there. So I'm gonna say yum install and G++. Whether you use DNF install or yum install, it is gonna say the same thing. So sudo with it and then type in the privilege. And I'm gonna say yes. Now notice on this window it is completed. So if I say Control B detach, then I go back to attach it. Now I have the session available for me. On this one, which GCC is there, which G++ is there, and so G++, I just install it with this window or this pan and then say dash dash version. It tells you the version, and GCC dash dash version, it tells me in that version. So if I want to write a C program, whether I write it open another terminal, or just go here, vim, say test hello.c, and then say pound include the standard io.h, and say end main, and say printf statement, and say hello word, and then new line characters, semicolon, and return 0, this successful function return, and then close the brace, which I did not open here. I have to close it and then finish up this. This is all looks like good. Include, and then standard IO.h. So if no issue on the syntax, I could say cat minus n hello.c. Notice this program is hello.c is a C program, right? So if I just say, well, that's great, can I just I don't have to have a Tmux on session on this one, but I want to just show you while on this window, since we are doing it, I could just do this. And then I'm gonna close this other session. I don't need the calendar, so I'm gonna say Control B and then go down arrow and then Control B and then left. Now I'm gonna close this one. So I have one for C, and I want to run one program for GCC. So C++. So I'm gonna say vim hello.c++. So if I write the equivalent of this one, I could just make this one as a .c++ and then just use this printf statement. All the syntax that it's there, it is still gonna work for this part. But in order to make it a true C++, you have to do include and then IO stream, and then here say using namespace standard then, and then say end main, and then you write the function and start this one. I could do a printf statement, works also, because printf statement is part of the standard IO, and IO stream understands it, but I could do a cout and say hello world. Console output is there, and then end line is there, and then you just say that. So at this time, I did this one, cout, because I used the use name as space standard, then I don't have to type in the scope resolution. So if I didn't do that using namespace, I had to do something like, this is a common, I have to do something like std : for resolution, scope resolution, and right here std : that would be a scope resolution. So since I did that one, I'm gonna say save it, and then now if I say clear screen, file hello dot star, notice that the first one, that is hello.c, it says it's a C source code, and the second one is C++. So if I look at the content of hello.c++, you can see this that syntax. That means I can compile it with a G++ minus O and hello, just to give it any name you could name it, but hello.c++ is the source code. Now I just created hello as executable file, and then you can see that that one, when you run, it will just say hello world. So if I say vim hello.c++ and I comment this line out and take this one out, and then just comment this one, because I'm now doing the scope resolution, I don't need that using namespace. So cat hello.c++, and you can see that if I do it by line number, you can see -n. You can see that on the line number 7, we're using the scope resolution, so we don't need to have this one declared here. And that's why I commented that one. So if you just compile it again with the same syntax of the code here and run the hello, it will still give you the same output. If you make a modification, obviously, it's gonna just work that way. Similarly, if I wanna just go Control B here and then up arrow here and say cat -n hello.c++, C, and then say GCC minus O allo. Notice I'm writing over the .c program. Say, okay, standard IO, I mistyped it. So I have to do a vim hello.c and then go to the top here and just change this one to standard io.h, a standard header file, a standard input output.h. So now I run the same command, it compiles it, and notice I overwrote the other file. File hello dot this is gonna say hello. So if the output is still both of them hello. So in order to know that one, you have to say this one. Okay, vim hello.c, and then you could say here you could say hello from C programming language, from C code, right? So now I compile it, and this one I compile it and then I run it, and then it's going to say hello from C code. But this other one, when I compile it, now I have to compile that one with a different name. So vim hello.c++, and then you say a word, search for that one and just change that one to from C++. There you could save it. And now I'm going to compile that one. And instead of writing it to the same name, I'm going to say GCC, because Linux is case sensitive. I could say and just minus O. I'm going to just change one word hello like that. In uppercase, that's good enough to define it differently. Hello.c++. So it somehow minus O. Let me see what happened here. There's something that it did not work. More vim hello.c++. So here I wrote C out hello from C++. From okay, hello from C++. There's no error there. Why is it not doing it? Let me just see. Oh, the syntax in the compiler, you have to do G++, because I was doing GCC, that's for C code. So it worked. And that's saying that from C++. So G++ is the compiler for C++, and GCC is for GNU CC, GNU C collection compiler. Okay, and that's those examples there. I hope you like it so far, and then let me see if there's anything additional that I need to cover. We covered, let me just go through the slideshow here from current slide, and then we go. We talked about Fedora 39. We talked about installation, system update, the graphical user interface, the command line interface. Obviously, there's a lot in the command line interface. We cannot finish it in some days, in some weeks, if we have to do it, everything, but those are there. The Linux file system we talked about, the GNU utilities we talked about, the different shells we talked about, the apps. We did not talk about too much about the apps. We just talked about Visual Studio Code and maybe Tmux, and then you could do PyCharm, you could do Apache and all of those other ones for other videos. You could do it, and then interpreters and compilers, and we talk about interpreters like Python and Bash scripting. Compilers, we talk about C and C++, and then IDEs. We talk about Visual Studio Code. So that is covered all of the video here. And then let's get back to the Visual Studio Code to see where it is. So if I just want to exit out of this one, I could say Control B, detach, and then now if I say Tmux ls, it is still available for me to go back to that session. So Tmux attach will just attach me to that window. But if I want to exit out, say I'm done for the day, I exit out of here, exit out of there, Now I say Tmux ls, it's not gonna say anything available. So that's good for your Tmux understanding.